The Untold Sequel of the Strange Story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, by Francis H. Little. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Chuck Williamson. The Untold Sequel of the Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, by Francis H. Little. Chapter 1. My name is Utterson, Linus Utterson. I am a lawyer in Soho, and have practiced law there for 30 years or more. I am well known to men of my profession, particularly to the Honorable Joseph Undercoot, Enoch Willard, and other equally well-known men, to whom I refer you as to my character and integrity as a professional man. What follows below, the facts and details in the well-known case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I have duly sworn to before reputable witnesses, and therefore trust that the public will receive them in the good faith in which they are offered. In view of the fact that my name has appeared in connection with the history of the case already given to the public as facts, some of you may say that now in coming forward with still another statement, that I am making retraction of the first account, thereby declaring the first account aforesaid to be false, and so accusing myself of perjury, since the first account was also sworn to. I deny this. I go still further, and declare the details as given already to the public to be absolutely correct. That is, they are correct in one sense, and wrong in another. The incidents, conversation, in fact, all the tragic details, occurred exactly as you know them. The places of incident given are correct. Yet, paradoxical as it may seem, you do not know the truth. We were deceived almost from the first. The conclusions drawn from the circumstantial evidence before our eyes were utterly false, and as such helped to augment the success of one of the cleverest, the cruelest, and most hellish plots ever conceived by mortal man. For the benefit of those who have not followed the history of the case, I will sketch it as briefly as possible, as already given by the Honorable Mr. Stevenson, since, as I have already stated, that history is absolutely correct on the face of it. Dr. Jekyll and myself were warm friends, having known each other from boyhood. As professional men, we had many things of interest in common. We differed much in disposition. He had always been a bright, hearty, sincere fellow, and he carried his happy traits into his older years. I was quieter and less demonstrative. Nevertheless, we were firm friends. In my capacity of lawyer, I was his legal adviser, and it was to me as such that he brought the strange will that proved to be the forerunner of the dark tragedy which it is my sad task to chronicle. The will was holograph, as I, though I took it in charge, refused to lend the least assistance in the making of it. As Mr. Stevenson has said, it provided not only that in case of the decease of Henry Jekyll, M.D., D.C.L., LL.D., F.R.S., etc., all his possessions were to pass into the hands of his friend and benefactor, Edward Hyde. But in case of Dr. Jekyll's disappearance or unexplained absence for any period exceeding 3 calendar months, the said Edward Hyde should step into said Henry Jekyll's shoes without further delay, and free from any burden or obligation, beyond the payment of a few small sums to the members of the doctor's household. This document was an eyesore to me. It primarily offended me as a lawyer, and besides, I had never seen nor heard of this Hyde. Somehow I formed prejudiced opinions of him from the first, which time and acquaintance only verified. In vain I pleaded with Jekyll to break that will. In vain I warned him of its danger. For it had occurred to me that possibly this man Hyde, who seemed to possess such strange power over poor Harry Jekyll, might become aware of its contents, or even have dictated it. But my friend, who unburdened his thoughts and cares to me on all other themes, preserved a silence, stubborn and persistent, in regard to this strange acquaintance, that only increased my apprehension of coming trouble. Of late, Harry Jekyll did not seem the same to me. While he possessed all the outward appearance as of old, in many things he was changed. His voice was changed, and he often startled me by gestures and expressions of thought entirely unlike him, and foreign to his nature. I think I noticed these things soon after the deposit of the will. I was much troubled, and I determined to see and speak to this Hyde, and I succeeded. It was in this way. In one of my walks with a friend, Enfield, we came opposite the door in the now celebrated gable house on the side street, leading south from the square in which Dr. Jekyll lived. Pointing to the door, Enfield told me the story of how the man whom he saw run down the child and trample on her had entered there, and how that man, whose name was Hyde, had given the child's parents a check on Harry Jekyll. Thus I found his home, and thus I found Hyde. I haunted the side street day after day before I saw my man. In the meantime, I had visited Dr. Lanyon, a mutual friend of Jekyll and myself, to find out more of the man Hyde. But I learned nothing. Lanyon had never heard of him. But at last my search was rewarded. I one day came upon Hyde about to enter the door. Stepping forward and touching him on the shoulder, I said, "Mr. Hyde, I think?" He shrank back quickly. "That's my name. What do you want?" Merely to gain time, I told him my name and friendship for Jekyll, and that I desired to see Dr. Jekyll. As he kept his face turned from me, I asked to see it. After some hesitation, he showed it, with a defiant look. "Now I shall know you again," I said. "It may be useful." "Yes," he sneered. "'Tis well we have met, and apropos you should have my address." And he gave a number in Soho. Good God, I thought. Can he too be thinking of the will? That man was all that Enfield painted him. He was pale and dwarfish. He gave an impression of deformity without any nameable malformation. He had borne himself to me with a sort of murderous mixture of timidity and boldness, and he spoke with a husky, whispering, and somewhat broken voice. All these were points against him, but now all these together could explain the hitherto unknown disgust and loathing with which I regarded him. If ever I read Satan's signature on a face, it was on that man's. How it haunted me! Where had I seen it before? For seen I certainly had. There was something strangely familiar about those features, but I could not place them. A year passed, in which I learned little else of Hyde, except that he enjoyed Jekyll's house as his own. Indeed, the servants had strict orders to obey him. It was from Poole, Jekyll's butler, that I heard a strange thing that troubled me as much as it puzzled me. Although Jekyll and Hyde were often about the house, no one had ever seen them there at the same time or together, and that it was only when Dr. Jekyll was absent that Mr. Hyde appeared, although Dr. Jekyll was often seen going into Hyde's quarters. This only served to strengthen a vague, horrible suspicion that was slowly forming itself in my mind,